Booner, it's time to go back to the basics.
Back to the basics.
Defense, it's time to go back to the basics. Turnovers.
Yep.
Win the turnover battle. I haven't said it in 3 weeks. I said it for four, 5, 6 straight weeks, and they kept winning games, and I stepped away from it, and I was like, you know what? It's not that big of a deal. You're going up against the Packers, the Bears, these teams. You know what? No, I was wrong. I take some blame for these losses because I went away from the turnover battles, and those guys completely forgot about it. Dan Campbell this week, Aaron Glenn this week, Ben Johnson this week. All 3 of your top coaches sat at the podium and said, we need to win the turnover battle. Ben Johnson said we need to take care of the football. Aaron Glenn said we need to get turnovers, and Dan Campbell went up there and said both. You have to go get turnovers. You have to protect the ball if you're Jared Goff. You cannot just you can't have 6-3 in 2 games. Cannot do that. So that's kind of my first one.
Love it.
Example I had 2 real quick is Dallas has been killing it the last 6 weeks.
Not turning the ball over.
Not turning it over, and guess what they've been doing on the other side? Getting turnovers. And they've been winning, not just winning, but they've been winning by 20 points every game, it feels like. That is the number 1 key in the NFL. I'm going back to the basics like AG should. Just get turnovers.
Love that.
Take care of the football.
Love that.
Thank you.
Possible clip right there. That's beautiful. I'm going to go a little I'm going to say that the Lions need to score first. That's my first key. I think they need to score first, whether that's getting the ball forced and going down and scoring or making a stop and going down and scoring. I think not just setting the tone for the game, but also from a tactical perspective, that allows you to use the run game, so you're controlling the time of possession, and it forces them to try to air it out, which I know that's actually been the Lions' weakness, but I think the more we force them to go away from Alvin Kamara, the more we force them to get out of their game plan, the better.
I love that. I remember a couple weeks back when we were going on a winning streak, me and you sat up here and said keys to victories, and I think we did the same exact thing as we did here. As I said, turnovers, and you go score and go get a touchdown in the first possession.
With the Chargers?
Set the tone of the game. Chargers? It might have been, and they did both, and they went out there and dominated. Whatever game it was, I remember.
Yes.
And I'm going to build off of yours right there.
Build it, Booner.
You talked about keeping the ball out of Kamara's hands. How do you do that? You keep the offense on the field. And how do you do that? You establish the run, and your offensive line gets back to what they've been doing all season long. Screw last game. Put that in the past. Move on. Offensive line, let's get back to where you were. You're the number 1 offensive line in the NFL for a reason for 13 straight weeks. Make it another week. Keep adding on to that. Establish the run. It doesn't just – it gives you long possessions, Broder. It gives you a 6-7 minute possession and keeps those guys off the field. At the same time, it sets Jared Goff up because we know exactly what is he good at? Play action. We'll say this every single week. That is his bread and butter. If you put Jared Goff in positions to win, he's shown it. He's 16-4, 16-5 in the last 21 games. I'm going establish the run and get that offensive line back on track from last week.
I love it. I'm gonna build off that too. I'm gonna build off that because you need the offensive line to score in the red zone. I think winning in the red zone on both sides of the ball, I think is huge. They talked about it in the press conference, but the Saints have one of the worst red zone offenses in all of football. Was it Aaron Glenn who had the stat? It was from somewhere else. But the Saints have, in the last 2 games, the Saints have 7. Where's my stat? 7 field goals in the red zone. The Lions have attempted 0. So they get there, they just can't punch it in.
Don't do it.
They're in a dome, so they're going to be kicking those field goals. I don't know. They still have Will Lutz. I forgot who their kicker is. Yep. But you got to win in the red zone. It's something the Lions have been focusing on. And they've actually done a good job of defending in the red zone. We got to keep that up.
I love that.